the participation of many of the people can develop community spirit, encourage cooperation among communities, and develop a pride in the skills required in today's fishery. On September the 23rd and 24th, the annual Fall Fair took place at Witless Bay. We visited there on the last day of the fair, and in spite of it being a cold, cloudy day, the attendance was as good or better than previous years. Contestants, exhibitors, and spectators were enthusiastic and in a carnival mood. At the fair, there was something for everyone, and on the day we visited, the displays of skill took place. The first was the fish splitting competition, and there were 4 contestants from Witless Bay, Admiral's Cove, and Cape Royal. And after the competition was over, we talked with the winner, Mr. Val Tobin from Witless Bay, whom we shall hear from in a few seconds. Is this the first time you've been a winner of this contest?
No, I've won at least 3 or 4 times.
Oh, I see. You're a pretty good winner in this case.
I'm up to me now, I think about the fair is going on about 12 years, I think. After winning about every year now, only 2 years, I think.
Only 2 years you didn't enter, eh?
2 or 3, not really sure, yeah.
Are you a fisherman by occupation?
Oh, yes, yeah.
You've been fishing all your life, have you?
Well, no, until this year now. I was never on the water this year.
Oh, I see. You're no longer a fisherman, but you're still a winner.
I'm walking ashore this summer.
Were you practicing for this event?
Oh, no, I didn't split no. Only about a kettle or so last year, that's all.
The only practice you've had is the fishing all your life. That's been a lot of practice, of
That's
course.
right, yeah. I know, years ago, I used to do a good anyway.
Are you going to enter again next year?
Well, that's what I like to do.
Fine, thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
The filleting contest saw younger men participating. These were workers from the fish plant in the area, and there were more contestants than in the splitting contest, possibly reflecting the change from salt to fresh fish production in this area. The tongue cutting contest saw several boys participating. I think the prize list from the Provincial Affairs Department restricts this competition to boys. Several cut their way through the competition, and not one of them lost a finger. The skeet shooting appeared to be the most popular, judged by the number of entries, and it drew practically everybody on the fairgrounds as well. And this, no doubt, the number of participants, no doubt, reflects the number of good gunners on the southern shore, and doubtlessly this would prove a popular competition in any Newfoundland community. To get some ideas of how the competitions work, we talked briefly to the fisheries officer who supervised some of the events.
The splitting cost of jig, you give 1 point for the amount of fish split, and there's 2 more points if there's a good split fish. If there's only a poorly split, there's 1 point. And you add it up on the amount of points for the time would be limited. About 1 minute per person, judging on the amount of contestants and the amount of fish it have.
So it's not only time, but also the quality of the final product that's split.
Oh, yes.
The filleting contest now, would that work similar to the splitting contest?
Similar to the fish splitting. The quality of fillets, the amount of time, and the condition the fillets are in.
Do you people keep a record of the times involved in these so that you can see if this year's record was better than last year's?
Oh, yes, we keep a record. One of the officials here at the run-off the fair, sometimes there's different fellas, and they all keep the books and keep a record of it.
Now, I note that you also had a tongue-cutting
contest, a cod tongue cutting contest. How does that work?
Well, we give the uncles about a dozen heads to cut out and get them all lined up, and then the first one finished, we class it as the winner, provided they had every one of them cut.
There's no time factor involved there.
No, we wouldn't put a time, but sometimes they do keep the time just to see if they're improving from 1 year to the other.
Now, was there any dry salt fish in the exhibits this year?
Yes, there's some, but we hadn't got a chance to look it over yet. I think we will do pretty soon now.
This will be this afternoon. Fine. Thank you, Mr. McCrockwell.
Sure, kindly.
There was a display of garden produce, preserves, baking, and handicrafts. And of course, this is a competition or competitions for the women of the community. Our Newfoundland handicrafts, which developed out of necessity, should not be lost. And exhibitions like this help to ensure that the old skills are retained with pride. Even the youngest members of the community took part in this fair. The youngsters were not too concerned about everybody around them as the proud mothers paraded them for the judges. And after the baby contest, we chatted with the organizer of this particular part of the fair and the judges of the contest.
Well, really not too much. The chairman of the Fall Fair Committee asked me if I would arrange it, and I contacted some firms in St. John's and got some donations, and then we just arranged to have the babies can be brought here, and we divided them into 3 different categories, from infancy to 6 months, and 6 months to 1 year, and then from 1 to 2 years.
I think we chose the best baby, really, to win the first prize.
Did you have any experience before this?
No, not in actually judging babies. I've had plenty of experience with babies as a nurse and as a mother, but I'd never judged them before.
I see you had 2 books when you came in. I was wondering if you used these.
No, we just used them as a refresher course of what babies were supposed to be doing at a certain age. It was up the stairs from 1 to 6, and Dr. Spock was always handy in situations like this.
Fine. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A concert was held on the last evening of the fair. An outside group was brought in for entertainment, but some of the local people took part. At the end of the concert, 4 young ladies from the Southern Shore competed for the title Queen of the Fair, and following that, the fair concluded with a gala dance. During the afternoon, we talked with Mr. Con O'Brien, who has been associated with the fair in Witless Bay for some time and who knows quite a bit about organizing a fair. How many years has this fair been running now, Mr. O'Brien?
Well, this is the 12th year.
This is the 12th year.
12th year.
And have you been chairman all during
All during the 12 years.
I see. And, well, you know what the headaches are as far as organizing a fair goes.
Yes.
How do you just go about organizing a fair like this?
Well, you chase up all your friends in St. John's for donations, people you do business with. You badger them for money and for cases of this and that, and then you go around and you appoint committees amongst the crowd here, and you have a committee for the sports. You have the women have their committee for serving the teas and so forth, and the school girls, the older kids organize games, and that's
Try to involve all the people in the
all
community.
the people from the old to the young.
I see. Now, what about the government? Do they give you any assistance in organizing or financial
Yes,
assistance?
yes, very much. Actually, down to the years, we would have never gotten it off of the ground only for the government, because the provincial government puts in about $1,200 here in prizes for the handicraft and the different vegetables and cooking, you know, the cakes and cookies and so forth, and that encourages people to do the things. And also they provide prize money for the fisheries. The Department of Fisheries provide money for the prizes.
Now, what about participation by the people in the area? Do many participate in the fair?
I will say practically everybody helps out in some shape or form. Nearly everybody, with the exception of a very small few, help in some way.
Do you get any entries from outside the parish?
There again, we haven't looked for. No, we try to keep it to a local show.
What are some of the events that you have here at the fair?
Well, we have the fisheries events, the fish splitting, the trawl baiting, the fish filleting, and we have our main event is the tug of war. That's the big one. That's the big event.
Oh, this is the big event.
The big event. That's between the villages here, between Cape Royal, Witless Bay, Bay Bulls, and so forth. Next year, possibly it'll be Torskov. It'll be in. Sometimes we're in, sometimes we're out. Different.
Who won this year?
Witless Bay won this year.
What about in you have things like the beauty contest?
Oh, yes. We have, this year we changed it a little. We have two nights of it. We had last night, tonight we had the semi-finals last night. Tonight we'll have the finals.
Do you serve meals here as well?
We serve very good meals.
I see. For instance, I can get a dinner
You
now.
can get a dinner for $1.25, the very best.
Oh, I see. I'd love to have that. Now, what do you think, or what are some of the advantages to a community of having a fair?
Well, as the regatta is to St. John's, so is the fair to Witless Bay. People meet. The people from the different villages meet here. The young crowd come here and dance, and the older crowd come here and watch the sport, and they have a talk, and they meet each other. They look forward to it. I'll go down for the Witless Bay Fair because if I'm a Torskov man, I might talk to a Bay Bulls man or a Witless Bay man or something that I haven't seen for a year.
So with this kind of enthusiasm, you would certainly suggest other communities...
I would certainly recommend it to communities. We'll get different communities together. They will have a day, the same as the St. John's man has with his regatta.
Fine. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Mr. Ryan.
Okay.
16 fairs and exhibitions obtained assistance from the Department of Provincial Affairs in 1966. Some of these had exhibits of fish and competition involving skills found in the fishing industry. However, there is no major exhibition similar to the Lunenburg exhibition in Nova Scotia, where fishermen from all over may compete against one another and where the industry is really exhibited. There is some assistance available to a community which wishes to organize an exhibition, and in this respect I was given the following information. The community should organize a committee which would then request an application from the Department of Provincial Affairs. This department will provide the committee with a copy of the policy of assistance for exhibitions and fairs, the general regulations for district exhibitions, and the district exhibitions prize list. Because fairs and exhibitions have been devoted mainly to agriculture and handicrafts, the prize list is devoted mainly to exhibits in these categories. However, there is a prize list for salt fish exhibits and displays of skills used in the fishing industry, but they are very few in comparison to the agriculture exhibits. If there are any exhibitions devoted exclusively to the fishing industry, I would appreciate hearing about it or of the plans to hold one. Please join us next week. Good afternoon.